Hello there, Eagles fans, and welcome back to our Eagles Therapy podcast. My name is Basil, and unfortunately, my father, Baz, of course, he's in Chicago right now, as we talked about last week, so I will be recording this episode without him. Unfortunately, we couldn't find a way to kind of get him in it with, recording from a different place, different phones, different computers. We're still trying to figure all this podcast stuff out, so hopefully we figure that out and get that done in the future for you, but for now, we're just going to have to do it this way. I do have a lot of his notes and everything, so we can kind of share. I can kind of share what he was thinking. But we're recording Sunday, November 5th, 2023, just merely 2-3 hours after the Eagles have defeated the evil empire Dallas Cowboys. Stressful game, really good game to watch as an NFL fan, as a football fan. Terrible game to watch if you're an Eagles or Cowboys fan because you're just stressed the entire time, which I hate being stressed. It took a few years off my life probably. We'll go ahead and jump into the episode. I'm going to try to do a quick episode because I don't like recording without my dad here, so going to make this a quick one for you. As always, we'll do a little club plug. We are part of the Philadelphia Eagles fan club of Colorado Springs. We meet for every single Eagles game at Frankie's on Powers and Galley. Today at the Eagles-Dallas Cowboys game, we had 111 people, 111 Eagles fans, as we should say. There's probably more people in the back, but 111 Eagles fans, which does break the record for us for most in a regular season game. Obviously, in the playoffs last year, the Super Bowl had a lot more, but in a regular season game, 111 Eagles fans. It was pretty awesome. The place was rocking. It was electric at times. A lot of great plays that had a lot of great reactions. Just so much fun. I know a lot of people got their phones out and were recording some stuff, so that was really great. We also had the canned food drive, or I should say the non-perishable food drive today for Care and Share. We raised up to, I believe it was $350, and as far as the food, we had about 600 cans of food. So thank you all to who participated. We had a great time with that, and we're really, really thankful for all of you that participated. We're really happy with our outcome that we had. In total, I'll just go ahead and jump into the overview of the episode. Obviously, the Eagles won 28-23 against the Cowboys. Again, a very stressful game. The offense, looked really dominant at times, a little bit rougher on the edges at certain other times. Jalen ended with 17 of 23 for 207 yards and 2 touchdowns. A.J. Brown had 7 catches for 66 yards and a touchdown. Devontae Smith, 3 catches for 51 yards, 1 touchdown. And Dallas Goedert, 3 for 50 yards, 1 touchdown, not a touchdown, 3 for 50 yards, but looked great. At times they were very consistent. Guys were getting open, but at other times, I felt like we were running the wrong plays. We were doing the wrong calls. It didn't feel great at times. Same with the running game. We had 33 for 109. That's a 3.3 average. Just really not great, not as dominant as we've been before. Gainwell and Hurts each had a rushing touchdown, so that was good to see. But overall, again, the rushing game, it just feels like it's been really disappointing. It's been letting us down ever since, the Vikings, the Buccaneers game. We were getting 175 yards, 160 yards, up to 200 yards, rushing in the game. And we just haven't been able to do that lately. I don't know if because we've lost our right guard, Cam Jurgens. He should be coming back after the bye, but maybe because we lost him, we're off. But I just feel like one guy shouldn't be able to affect a huge, asset of the game. It feels like that really needs to be improved upon. We need to figure out when to run better. We need to figure out how to run better. Really, with this offensive line, we should be running all over these guys, but a little disappointing on the run game. Defensively, strong at times, but still very worrisome. The defensive line ended up with 5 sacks, which looks great on paper. But, throughout the game, it just felt like we weren't getting pressure. We weren't getting the results that I feel like this defensive line should be producing. These guys, Reddick and Sweat and Carter and Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham. Nolan Smith now. I know he's, first-round pick. But we have all these guys that I feel like we should be getting back there more. I know a lot of teams they're going to be designing, play calls and doing plays that, try to attack us there so that we can't, capitalize on that defensive line. But it just still feels like we should be doing more there. We did pretty good against the run. I don't know exactly how much they averaged at the end of the game. Let's see, I have right here. They did average 3.5 yards a carry, so that's really, it's really not great. So we did do a great job at stopping the run, but it just felt like, I know 5 sacks looks great, but it didn't feel like it was that good. Of course, they came to the rescue in the end. Sweat had a great sack in the end. Graham, had 1.5 sacks, which should be boosted up to 2 sacks that were huge towards the end of the game in the third and fourth quarter. And, Josh Sweat with that huge sack in the end was just, basically a game-winning play. We'll get to more of that later, but As far as the defense, the secondary really scaring me. I feel like it's our weak point right now, and it doesn't make sense that it's our weak point. We have, I know they're older guys, they're on the other side of 30, but these guys, Kevin Byard, we brought him in, and it feels like we're worse right now. Reed Blankenship, he's a young guy. I know he still hasn't started that many games. I think it's his 12th or 13th start. That's still a rookie playing kind of right there. Then you have Slay and Bradbury. It just feels like they should be better. I know our slot position, that's just going to be rough for a little bit. Bradley Roby should be coming back after the bye. Eli Ricks, he's doing his best, and I think one day he's going to be a really great outside corner. He can even probably be a really good inside, in the slot corner, in the nickelback position. But right now he's just having a rough time. I know that they do have CeeDee Lamb, who's, their best wide receiver, probably a top 15, top 10 wide receiver in the league. And that's hard because he lines up in the slot a lot. So it is a big ask for a undrafted rookie free agent to have a chance, against him. But it just feels like with Slay, Bradbury, Kevin Byard, we have these guys, these big names, and it's just not working. It's just really not working. And I feel like our defensive coordinator, he's done really good in the past. The Buccaneers game, the Vikings game, some of the other the Jets game, they were okay. The Jets game was more on the offense, but I don't want to delve into the past, but it just feels like the secondary is just not performing to what I want them to perform to. We're not getting turnovers. We're not producing picks. We're not hitting them off the ball. We're giving them too much time. Defensive coordinator was doing really good earlier in the season. He was like the MVP of the season at one point. And recently it's been rough. I think the teams are learning to attack us in our weak spots with the linebacker and also the safety position, but I feel like you shouldn't be able to attack us in the safety position. But they came up big in the end, had some great sacks at the end. Josh Sweat, again, like I said, it really ran the clock down. It was phenomenal. And then they were able to cover them. They did their job in the end, and we won the game. So it's all that matters is really we're 1-0 this week, and it was against Dallas. That's great. Special teams, got nothing to write home about. Wasn't a great big game. Wasn't a great game. Nothing really big. They had some kick returns and a punt return. I'm a little upset about. I don't know if Jake Elliott's. I don't know if he's hurt or something, or if it's windy there or something like that. But I don't know why he can't kick it out of the end zone. To me, at this point in NFL, I would just kick the ball out of the end zone every single time. And I know I couldn't do it myself, so I shouldn't be sitting here. Why can't he do it? But it just feels like he's done it before and he does it consistently. Let's go, do it every time. I don't give these guys chances to return it because it's burnt us a few times now. Today we went down and scored. We got him a three and out at the beginning of the game. We went down and scored and it was like, oh, here we go. And then they returned the ball to like the 45, 46, their own 45, 46. They're at midfield already. Just a little bit. I'd really like to see those kicks go out of bounds, or not out of bounds. I'm sorry, out of the end zone. I'm just tired of guys returning it. We want to see more of. I have here less 3-and-outs. I'm getting a little tired about that. End of the game, earlier in the season. Like I said, I know earlier in the season. Rams game and the Vikings game, we were able to put drives up to put to not give the ball back to the other team. And it feels like recently, the last few weeks, we always give the ball. The other team always has a chance. I just don't understand. What are we doing? We need to go back to when we could get these long, relentless drives at the end of the game, 7-8 minute drive, running the ball, first down on second down, first down on third down, first down on first down. We had all these abilities to do that, but it's the run game is just having a hard time. Like I said, what I want to see more of, I want to see the run game be more effective. My dad said kind of what I touched on earlier. He wants to see more consistency in our defensive backs. So that's, just rough. Like I said, it feels like the defensive backs should be playing a lot better. I know they're a lot older, but maybe the scheme is hurting them. But I just feel like they need to start. A game like this is going to make our team better. We're going to be playing a really tough schedule the next 5 weeks, or the next 6 weeks because we're on a bye. But we're going to be playing a tough schedule, and this type of game it'll make us better, which is great. Maybe down the long, in the long run, this will be huge for us. And we're 8-1, and our defense isn't even really that good. Like that's huge, And I'm not saying the defense isn't good, but it's just I feel like it should be doing better. So he wants to see consistency on defensive backs. As far as the selected players that we chose last week I chose Lane Johnson. Did good, but not great. Parsons did end up with a sack and a half. In total, they had 3 sacks on us. Two of those I could kind of blame on Hurts. He held on to a little bit too long. One of them shouldn't count it because a guy dove at his knee and tried to break his leg. So two of those sacks I can kind of blame on Hurts. Really only one major sack by the offensive line. It feels like Hurts sometimes he just holds onto the ball a little bit too long. Just throw it away, get it out of bounds, get it back to the line of scrimmage, get rid of it. Don't take these sacks, especially on a 2nd down and 10. You can't be doing 3rd and 17. I can't stand that. Oh, speaking of, I'm sorry, I don't like to jump back, but as far as the defensive backs, our defense, we have these 3rd and 17s, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 14, 3rd and 21. And for the most part, they either get the first down or they get to 4th and 1, 4th and 2. I'm like, can we get a 4th and 10, a 4th and 8, a 4th and 12? Can we do something? Like, why do they have to get 14 yards on 3rd and 14, 3rd and 15? It just makes the 4th down too easy. I know at one point today we did make a 4th and 8, and it ended up helping us, and I'm just tired of seeing that, but I'm sorry. Lane Johnson, though, like I said, he looked like he may have let up a sack. It's hard for me to talk about offensive linemen because right now it's Sunday night, the same night as the game, so there is no advanced stats that are released right now, so I don't really have much to go off of. He looked like he may have let up a sack or at least a pressure, so that was rough. Like I said, only 3 sacks, 2 I could blame on him. My dad chose Josh Sweat. Last week, that was his player. Sweat had a great game. He had 6 pressures total. He had 4 tackles and 1 sack, and like I said, that sack was kind of a game winner. With 27 seconds left, he was able to sack Dak, and that led the clock tick down, and then on 2nd down, he had to throw it out of the end zone, throw a far pass. They had good coverage on the back end there. It made it 3rd down, and there was only 5 seconds left at that point. So, that was huge for them to be able to do that. So Sweat, he played a great game. Good to see him playing good. I think with his pressures, he is tied for 1st in the league with pressures, tied with Micah Parsons. So he's tied for 1st in the league with pressures on the quarterback, which is awesome. What total does that bring him to? I'm sorry, I should have had that ready. That brings him to, so right now, before that game, he had 5.5 sacks, so now he has 6.5 sacks. So that's great, man. 6.5 sacks in 9 games, that's phenomenal. He's been playing out of his mind. He really is good. He's very underrated. We got him in the 4th round back in 2018. He's a very underrated player, and I really hoping he can get a Pro Bowl or All-Pro nod this year if he keeps it up. Reddick, of course, had a sack as well, so that brings him up to 7.5 in like 5 games or 6 games. That's just amazing. They are playing well. I just feel like we should be getting in there more. I always want more. I'm never satisfied, as you guys have heard. I'm never happy with a win. I always want to win by 40, but that's just how it is. For our MVPs of the game, my MVP is Brandon Graham, which is crazy because, like I said, no advanced stats yet, so we don't have the snap count out yet. I can't imagine he played that many snaps. With those snaps, he got 1.5 sacks. Should be 2. I think they're going to readjust that stat later when they look into it. They always go back and adjust the stats. And, of course, there's different sites that always give different numbers. The Score says he has 1.5 stats. I'm sure Pro Football Reference said he had 2. It's all different. They look at him different ways. He should have 2 sacks. He pushed Dak out of bounds on that 2-point conversion in the 4th down. That was kind of the biggest play of the game, really, in a way. I know it came down to the wire, so it's not remembered as it. But, they scored a touchdown. They were down by 5. They went for 2. And, he was able to chase Dak out of bounds and get him to step out before he got into the end zone, which was incredible. Something you don't see from a defensive end who's, I don't have his weight, but he's a big guy. He's put on a lot of weight in his career here. He's become a bigger guy and everything like that. I can't imagine he's, as fast as he used to be. So it was just an incredible play by him as a defensive end to be able to chase Dak out of bounds there and get that. He's 269 pounds he's listed at. That can't be – I don't think he's that much. But, for him to be able to make that play and get Dak out of bounds and not get that 2-point conversion to get them, only losing by 3, it's a whole different game. If they're losing by 3, they kick a field goal on that last drive or the drive before. They don't have to go for the touchdown and the long touchdown. They kick a field goal and they go to overtime. And I don't like our chances in overtime tonight because we were getting tired and the defensive backs were getting cooked. So huge play to me. He's our MVP of the game. I do want to mention unsung hero was Tyler Steen. On 3rd down, I believe 7, towards the end of the game, DeAndre Swift ran the ball, A.J. Brown ran into him, kind of trucked him, I should say, and he fumbled the ball. and that would have been huge because I believe we were on our own maybe 25 or maybe on our own 30 around that area. We really weren't that far, so that was terrifying. But Tyler Steen was able to get back on top of it. That was huge. I mean, that was totally scary. I mean, we were on our own 31, but man, that was huge and good that we were able to waste their other timeout. The fact that we recovered it, they had to use their timeout. That was just so big. So good job to Tyler Steen. I don't have his MVP, but he did play a really good game, and he's a rookie, and he got his first start. I think he might have let up a sack at one point against Parsons, he didn't really let up a sack, but Parsons got through. But other than that, man, he had some good blocks in the running game. Good block on Kenny Gainwell's touchdown, another good block on one of Swift's runs. He had a really good game. So it's good to see that. I know Cam Jurgens will probably be back after the bye, but it's good to see that, in the future, when Cam moves to center, we have Steen as a right guard. This is good. This is good stuff going forward. My dad had Dallas Goedert as the MVP of the game, 3 catches for 50 yards. He had that 28-yard catch, which he got injured on a kind of dirty tackle, I would say. If you go back and look at it, that guy knew what he was pulling on. Landed right on his arm. Not what I like to see. Kind of what you can expect from a Cowboy player, though. But he has Goddard as his MVP because that play really did start to kind of put it out of reach because then we scored a few plays later. And that put us up by 11, which kind of, not put the game away, but it put the game further out of reach, and we never lost the lead again. So big play on Goddard there. Hopefully he's okay. I'll touch on the injuries that we kind of have coming up towards the end. But other than that, I want to touch on the under the nest plays. So these are the plays, of course, that are not going to be remembered as much as the maybe plays that happen after it or are going to be overshadowed by other plays. On offense, with 12 minutes and 12 seconds left in the third quarter, it was 2nd and 2. The pocket kind of collapsed. Hurts scrambled out of the pocket. He hit DeAndre Swift for a gain of 11. It was a first down. It was huge. The momentum building. The bar went crazy, even though it was just an 11-yard gain. We were going nuts. We were just so excited because Hurts was running out of the pocket. It looks like he might have gotten sacked. Found a guy wide open, 11-yard gain, first down. Next play, touchdown to Devontae Smith in the back corner, left corner of the end zone. So that's a huge play. It's overshadowed, of course, by the touchdown. But, great catch, great throw, great, maneuverability, especially after he had gotten hurt. Re-aggravated his existing injury in the second quarter. So, great play by both him and Hurts and Swift, and then touchdown the next play. For the defense under the nest, I have with 10 minutes and 51 seconds left in the fourth quarter, Dak Prescott. He was about to run the ball into the end zone. He was about to score. Darius Slay and Zach Cunningham, they had something to say about that. They were able to stop him. Slay went low. Dak tried to jump over him, and Cunningham finished him off and plowed him into the dirt. It was third down, like I said, or I didn't know if I said it, but it was third down. It made it fourth down. The next play, he threw it to Luke, what was the name? Luke Schooningham? I'm sorry if I don't remember his name. Let me see. I might have it here. Luke Schoonmaker, I'm sorry. Luke Schoonmaker, he threw it to him, and that was the play. Reed Blankenship was able to stop him at the 1-yard line. They called it a touchdown, and man, we were all like, no, and it showed the replay, and I got up close to the TV because I wanted to see it, and his knee was down, and we all, it's no touchdown. We were going nuts. You can imagine 111 Eagles fans going crazy in that bar. It was just really nice. So yeah, that play before, that was probably the most electric play. We were going nuts because it just a big hit, and Dak, fell to the ground, stopped him on third down. I was a little scared. I did go to the Cowboys fan who was in the bar. There was about 4 of them. I went over to him and I was like, they probably could get it on fourth down, but dude, that was a great play. And they were able to hold him on fourth down, so that play's kind of forgotten because the next play was so big and holding that down. Next, I'll just go over some injuries for the game. We did lose Dallas Goedert in the game. We had a lot of guys going down. We lost Dallas Goedert. I don't believe he returned. Nakobe Dean, he got a foot injury, re-aggravated his existing one, I think. He did not return. James Bradbury, he got hurt. I believe he did come back. Devontae Smith, he came back, of course. Darius Slay, he did come back. Hurts, of course, that's the obvious one. He got hurt or re-aggravated his existing injury, and it's worrisome. And the bye week could not come at a better time. And the fact that we're going into the bye at 8-1 and Dallas is sitting at 5-3, the Giants and Washington are kind of more so out of it. No one's completely out of it yet, of course, but they're more so out of it. This is so big to go into the bye week. It could not come at a better time for us to win a major divisional matchup, to go 8-1 and to have all these injuries. It's time to go into the bye week, rest up, take some breaks, ice your legs up, rub some dirt on it, whatever you got to do, and come back healthier than before. Because man, it was rough for a while there with all these injuries we've been dealing with, and for us to go 8-1 in that span with all those injuries, with all those scares, just huge going into the bye week. So get healthy, come back out stronger than ever. We'll be facing the Chiefs, of course, when we come back on a Monday Night Football, which is nice because it kind of extends our bye an extra day. As far as the Eagles rooting guide this week, going divisional first, of course, we beat the Cowboys 28-3. That's great. Washington defeated the Patriots 20-17. At this point, we don't want Washington to win out or anything like that, but we are kind of okay with them ruining their draft pick. We don't want them to have a top 5, top 4 draft pick because, we definitely don't want them having a number 1 draft pick. We just need to try to keep Caleb Williams out of this division. We really don't want anything happening there. Along with that, the Raiders, they defeated the Giants. We kind of, at some point, we do need to start cheering for the Giants. They're 2-7. We really don't want them to get a top pick. I mean, the good thing would be if the Cardinals continue to stay, on the bottom end, they can get that first pick, or maybe the Colts the Colts wouldn't, but the Panthers are down towards the bottom too. The Bears, stuff like that. We need them to stay bad, but we need the Giants and the Washington to kind of not be great, but we do need them to win some games. End up 6-11, 5-12. That kind of record. That way, they're not number 1, top 5 pick. They're more in the top 15 or top 10, 12. You want them there. We really don't want them getting those picks. Outside the division, unfortunately, the Saints did defeat the Bears. Not what we want again. I know I'm a broken record now, but the Saints, we have their second pick in the draft next year. We want that pick to be as low as possible, so we really need them to keep on losing. Unfortunately, they keep on winning. This win brought them to 5-4. We want the opposite of them. Like we want the Giants and Washington. We want the Saints to be the opposite. We want them to lose every single game. Because if we can get this first pick in the second round, say we win the Super Bowl, we have the 32nd pick and the 33rd pick. I would love that. That would be amazing. Probably not going to happen now at 5-4, but let's try to get that pick as good as possible. So keep on cheering against those Saints. And then other important divisional matchups, the Lions, they had a bye week this week. The Niners did as well, so not as many of the big names. The Ravens did destroy the Seahawks. I mean, they walloped them 37-3. I was very stunned. A lot of people thought, aside from the Eagles-Cowboys game, people thought this would want to be one of the best games of the week, at least of the day. Sunday, Monday, and Thursday were good games and stuff, but everyone kind of expected that to be one of the big games of the week. So really was surprising to see the Seahawks get destroyed like that. Other big games, the Dolphins and the Chiefs. The Chiefs beat them 21-14. Kind of a good thing for us to see the Chiefs win before the bye. We have the same bye week as the Chiefs. We don't want to come out of the bye with the Chiefs having just lost 2 in a row, because that would be, it would make them much more desperate for a win. It would make them more hungry for a win. We do want them kind of going into the bye and going into our game with a previous win. Not to say that it's going to help us or they'll go softer or easier now, but just you don't want them. If they lose 2 in a row, I mean, you don't want to face that team. But other than that, like I said, this is going to be a quick episode, so I'm going to wrap it all up here. Thank you very much for listening. Like I said, I apologize I couldn't have my dad here, and we hope to find a way. He's going to be out of here for the next 2 weeks. While we're gone on the bye week, we'll try to do an episode, maybe 2 of them, just to kind of fill the gap, talk about some other divisional stuff. The Lions and the Niners and the Cowboys will all play next week, so we want to talk about that sort of stuff, be around to talk about that. But he'll be in Chicago, so we're going to try to find a way. Hopefully we can do it, but we're not too sure. I don't think we have a microphone out there for him, so we'll figure out what we can do, but I'll go ahead and say my goodbye here. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. If you like our Eagles Therapy podcast, do us a favor, rate and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you're listening right now. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Please comment below any questions, any comments, anything you want. I know people are watching. Give me a comment. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you want to hear. Tell me, what you like or what you don't like, or give me some suggestions. Again, a big shout out to John Ivanovich. Thank you so much for giving us that suggestion. The fantasy stuff, we're going to continue doing that going forward with that. Hopefully every single week. This week is just weird because my dad's out of town, so we're on and off. kind of an off episode right now. But, going forward, we'd love to get some suggestions. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. If you're a fan of another team, whatever, you can hate on us. Please do something. Like it, subscribe, anything like that. If you're watching on YouTube, like I said, like and subscribe. If you don't want to comment below, if you don't want to see your YouTube page down there, email us your questions at oureaglestherapy@gmail.com. I've only gotten one email. Thank you. Shout out to David for sending me that email. He sent me some stats one time. But, give us some emails or give us some comments or something. Again, JJ, he comments on almost every single episode with something, relating to the episode. I want to be involved in the Eagles community, so we want to hear more from you and talk to you. We'll always comment back. My dad, he'll comment back on every single comment within 5 minutes. So just keep an eye out from that. But from all of us here at Our Eagles Therapy Podcast, I'm Basil. Go Birds and fly, Eagles, fly.